I wrote an article a couple years ago, which is going to sound overly simplistic and hokey, but it works exactly to this point. What I've suggested to business owners who say, well, I've got, nothing gets done and people don't step up and this, and I said, well, go on vacation for 1 month, far away, and tell all your employees, I've got my, because I know you won't be able to really go away and not be in contact at all. So tell your employees, if you absolutely need to reach me, call me on my cell. But before you do, see if this is a problem that you can solve yourself. And if you can, solve it. If you can't, but it can wait till I return, write it on a pad. And then when I return, I'll answer the phone calls that I absolutely have to. You'll tell me what problems you've solved, and then we'll go down the list of all those problems that you weren't able to resolve, but you needed my input on. And what happens, two things when the owner gets back is, first of all, he's found that some of his people were able to resolve many, many of those problems that they used to come to him with. And many of the ones that they have on the list are problems that they still could resolve, except he never delegated to them the responsibility to resolve them, which is why they didn't get resolved. They were afraid that they weren't going to do it his way, or he was going to have something to say. And the second thing that you discover is there are certain people who step up, resolve a lot of them, and other people who won't resolve anything. The people who had to call you, or the people who have the laundry list of people.
If I can just, and then I'm going to piggyback on that too. I think that what we have to all understand, all of us in this room, can't change our fundamental wiring. If we're a control freak, which, part of it, that's certainly who I am, then we're always going to be a control freak. But all we can do is practice new behaviors, what we call kind of change your environment. So if and then the opposite of control freak is someone who's totally hands-off. So I'll just go with the control freak because it's so easy for me to talk about that. So if I want to teach someone something, when Kelly McDaniel, whom many of you know in this room, who's a partner of mine, when she was learning to do seminars or a training program that I had designed, obviously the first thing that would happen, she would begin and present, and within 5 minutes I took over the podium. So I'm now running, and she's sitting over there, and I'm wondering, what the hell is she doing sitting there? She's supposed to be running this program. But of course, it's me taking over the program. I have to leave the room. And so to your point, a guy getting out of town for 30 days, which maybe, you have to take a lot of meds to do that.
That's true.
Yeah. To get out of town for 30 days and not come back and stick your nose in is difficult to do, but that's changing your environment, not changing who you are, because you're not going to do that. So you have to manipulate your environment to change that culture.
So is that one of the ways you would determine the current state of your leadership team, by taking a step away and then coming back to see what happened?
Yeah, sure. And polling the leadership team and having them, certainly team building always comes into this, and those are offsite retreats, where you kind of beat each other up. But you have to be ready. I think the owner of the company has to be ready to understand that every problem that exists in that company, he or she plays a part in. And it's not just the employee, as I think you had mentioned in your remarks. It's clearly not that. That in every argument, there's two parties who play a part in that. If there's someone in this room, a relative you're not speaking to, you haven't spoken to in 4 years because you think that person's a jerk, there's a part that you played in that jerkdom, If there's such, is that a new word?
And it's a lot easier for you as the owner to change the environment than it is for the employee.
Absolutely.